Good evening, my YouTube darlings. How are you all doing in these current energies? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I have a lot to catch up with you, as always. I was just looking at where I've been for the past 13 days since I last spoke to you. So I last spoke to you when I did that post on Guy Fawkes. So you see there's been quite a lot on Patreon since then, and you will have to go and look at that YouTube video that I did. I'm just going to open it up here. So the Guy is the key, is the mistletoe. Guy is Guy in French. It's the missing the mistletoe that we kiss under for the lovers to become one. So you will have to go back because I won't be able to remember everything I was going over. But, you know, very much the jewel is Jupiter and Saturn. Jewel, the crown, the six-sided star is that six Tiferet. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And B is 13. Is it recording? Yeah. And 13 is the Milky Way gap. That gap in the brain takes us to the cosmic egg, which is in between the four corners of our brain. You have the cosmic egg, and that egg is the aigle, the eagle. Beauty is in the eye of the B13 holder. If you can open the key, the Guy, you get your GB. Great Britain, you get the G7, you get the last leg, you get the last corner, you find that last phase of the moon, the 13 months, and you find your inner ability to be the observer. So when I last spoke to you, so look, we've always got MB, we had this Michel Barnier, who was 73 years old. That is your Bob Marley, your MB. It's always a play on the M, the male, the email. The M is 13 and B is also that 13. So we had the Jewel, we had the B storm in Jamaica, Melissa. And then missing is the mistletoe. We have Nicola, which means victory, to find the bullseye, the bull eye. 101 is the passage. Okay, well, so, and then we had Michel Barnier, 73, and we also had the other French Prime Minister, François Bayrou, who was also 73, which is just your Vesica Pisces, the Eye of the Tiger. We had Tony Robbins doing a massive talk on AI as we go through that passage. The Guy Fawkes, the eye, the Guy of the Falk is not the eagle. So yeah, that's you'd have to go over all that. So that was what? That was, oh yes, that was me looking at the day of Guy Fawkes, 1604. Can I open that more? No, but that's what you'll discover in that video. And we had it was Saturn and Jupiter. Jupiter was right on the elbow and Saturn was in Scorpio, and it was, you know, you can see that is the gap. That is what the war for the MC, the Monte Cristo, is Scorpio that should become the MC, and Jupiter rules Sagittarius, Mars rules Scorpio. And this is the eagle that should rise, but they are rising this 13th sign, which in a way is that green line, the dielectric between the magnetic and the electric, the red and the blue. You have that green, you've got the heart, you've got Tiferet. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And then you get your heart to head connection. 88 million whatever jewels were stolen at the Louvre, and the Louvre is your cornerstone, it's your cap. So yeah, the plane of inertia is that green line between the blue and the red. And what did we have in the newspapers? We've got Ukraine president and Macron each holding a red and a blue book, because we're marking this gap which has been completed from 2016, 17 to now, 2025. 2016 is 9, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2, 1, 6, and 2025, 5 and 2 is 7, plus 2 is 9. So we're in a completion year. We've made that X marks the spot. We had the 2 great eclipses in America marking. We've been through COVID, and as I explained to you, the Saturn and Jupiter conjunctions that make the jewel are now officially in the earth element. We had 1981, the triple conjunction in Virgo. We had 2000 in Taurus. And then for COVID, the opening 2020, we had on the winter solstice, 2112, as the sun is still in Sagittarius, and now people have to get through that gap. They have to fully be able to activate their higher chakras, Venus, Mercury, and Saturn, or you don't have the correct energies. There's a whole lot of stuff going on at the moment. You know, that Hitler Youth, children being given the rights, children working with the government. That's Mercury and Saturn. And Venus is becoming incredibly, you know, the dark side of Venus, vanity. Never fall for vanity. It's not a pretty sight. Aim for simple modesty and you will look all right. So Venus, we see very strongly playing out the energy in Virgo. Venus is in full in Virgo. And for the rising of Notre Dame, we had Venus conjunct Pluto on the 7th of December. And this is right now. This is we're minutes, we're hours away from the new moon. So as I talk to you now, we are 19 heures. Let's put it exactly. Right, so we're at 6:29. So the moon is in Libra as I speak, right on that snake. All those bits shall live, and the sun is in Libra. So I did my rundown, 2-hour rundown for Patreon the other day, and because I was looking at the Astrodyne's chart, I got carried away saying the new moon. I would have said it was in Libra when I was looking at Stellarium, but I think by the end I was talking about, so it's definitely in Libra, but it's a very Scorpio influence. This is the rising of the Phoenix, and this is what I covered. You can buy for a coffee for €5 the full rundown of the next 2 weeks to come on Patreon. And I went into great depth. So right now as I speak, we've got Mercury completely blinded by the sun. Completely blinded by the sun, retrograde. And this time Mercury is coming from Scorpio back to Libra. And then he will return to Scorpio. So this time last year, boom. This time last year, we were coming up to the rising of Notre Dame, and we were beginning a five stages of Mercury retrograding in the water signs. So in August 2024, Mercury goes retrograde 3 or 4 times a year. In August, Mercury went retrograde in Leo. He went, so Leo, let's go back, I'll show you 8. So Mercury, there's Mercury. Mercury was going retrograde in Leo. He was going around Regulus, and that was the time of the Olympics. And we had Leon Merlin, we have the famous Leo swimmer winning all the races in Paris to rise the Merlion, as Mercury went retrograde in Leo, giving power to the children. Mercury in a fire element. So don't forget, Mercury rules air, Gemini, and Virgo earth, mutable air, mutable earth, Jack and Jill. So Jupiter rules fire, Sagittarius, and water, Pisces. So when his partner in crime, Jupiter, Sagittarius, Valentine, Mercury, Gemini, Cupid, Batman, Sagittarius, Robin, Gemini. So when Mercury is in the element of Jupiter, Jupiter can use his partner in crime because they are the rulers of the mutable cross, Jupiter and Mercury, St. Andrew's cross, St. George's cross, Patrick of Ireland, Saint Martin de Tours. It's the lion, the Merlion, you have to pass to get back onto St. George's cross. You got to pass George, the Gorge, to get fixed again, to reach your head, to go from the heart to the head. You have to get off the mutable cross. You have to stop flowing. You have to come off the adaptability of one extreme, one bipolar to another. Use that adaptability to discern, but you have to make up your mind. You have to get fixed again. So Mercury did that retrograde for the end of the Olympics in Leo, rising in Paris, Lion, Sun King. France is the Lion. The sun rules Leo and the moon rules Cancer. That's France. That's why France has got so much government control, because all the people are the sun and the moon. They are under the influence of the government. They can't stand up for themselves because they're under the sun and the moon energy. And now that Saturn and Jupiter will be meeting in earth and then air signs for 500 years, there will be no need of the sun and the moon, because the sun rules Leo fire, the moon rules water Cancer, and they're not on the earth and air axes. So Saturn and Jupiter will meet now for 250 years in earth signs: Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. We've had the first trine made 81, 2000, 2020. So the first trine is done. We're fully in earth and there's no more sun and moon, because Mercury rules Virgo, Venus rules Taurus, and Saturn rules Capricorn. And in 250 years, the air cross, Mercury rules Gemini, Venus rules Libra, and Saturn rules Aquarius. Mainstream astrology will say that we are now in that air, but so the sun and the moon, there's no more need of the sun and the moon, and they're rising the Merlion. You got to get through pride. He's very, very proud, that lion. He's not going to ask for any help. He wants to do everything on his own, and he would rather be in chaos than become the grandmaster. So he is no longer, the new ascendant is Aquarius, and Mercury did his retrograde here, and then 4 months later he did his retrograde here, and on the 7th to rise Notre Dame, there's Venus, combusts Pluto, combust Pluto. So again, this is the power that they want. They like the energy of Venus. They've killed Diana. They've killed the mother. They've killed middle class. They've killed hell hath no fury than a mother that protects innocence. And they've turned that Taurus energy into the bully. The Me Too Nicola bully. Nicola drowned in the river like Princess Diana to make dirty Diana, to bring up the dark side of Venus. And that is accentuated by Venus in Virgo and Venus in Capricorn. So that's why they rose Notre Dame on that day. And Mercury was conjunct Antares. But Mercury didn't make it back to Libra. He didn't make it back to Libra. He made it back to, he was between Ophiuchus. So for rising Notre Dame, he was on Ophiuchus. He was on this green giant. He was on this dielectric, this green line between the red and the blue. It's the green line, it's the heart. That's why Zelensky and Macron were holding together the red and the blue, because they're showing you that line that is going from east to west. It's the new green line. It's the heart. Or it's going to be an alien, aliens, the little green men. You know, it's really your ability to properly use Mercury, Venus, and Saturn. Or Saturn remains totally ruthless. Mercury's a little Peter Pan, and Venus is the big seductress, without finding that true justice energy and inverting the Libra and Taurus energy, making Libra into the voluptuous seductress and making Taurus into the Me Too bully. So Mercury went retrograde in Scorpio. Then 4 months later, Mercury went retrograde in Pisces over the whale's tail. That was March of this year. Then this summer, Mercury went retrograde in Cancer just after Mars. He had done his journey between Gemini and Cancer. So Mercury went around that beehive, and the beehive is the bee. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. He who can, get over that crabby, moody, emotional, toxic, the mother who doesn't identify that Cancer is very nurturing and warm and loving, but she can also suffocate. I can't breathe. She punishes, she rewards, and she demands. She demands to be recognized for what she does. She's got a knife in her hand. She is, that's, the whole people. Cancer is really not acknowledging that she will kill to protect innocence. So Mercury went retrograde in Cancer, and that was a very big moment because we had Jupiter and Venus conjuncts. See, there's Mercury going up, and then this is when we lost some very special people. We lost very dear friend and member on Patreon and client for many years. And people lost their pets. That's when my dog got bit as well. So that was a very, very showing that energy. See, Mercury rules air and earth. He doesn't rule water. So I'm showing you that we have got until next March, Mercury bringing up all this water energy, purification, sorrow, crying. So Scorpio is ice. We've got ice going on in America. This is ice. Ice is a play on the IC. Taurus is the new IC. Scorpio is the new MC. And Mercury bringing up this water, bringing up so much so that you can purify and clean out. And then Mercury, now we're in November and Mercury is retrograding, but this time Mercury is going back to Libra. He's going back to Libra. And what is between Scorpio and Libra? Scorpio is ruled by Mars. So as I speak to you right now, we have got Mars at home on Antares in domicile, and we have got Venus at home. So this is what I explain all the time. This is really Narcissus. And we've got Mercury bang today in Libra. But this is, so Mercury is very, this is lovely for this new moon energy. Mercury loves air. This is like a moment of clarity between the drowning and the pain and the fog and the emotions and the feeling. You know, there's been a lot of death in the past year. How many people have we lost? Animals, pets, since Mercury going retrograde in Scorpio last December and Mercury retrograde now. And this is our ability to rise the phoenix. The fixed cross, Scorpio has always been that eagle. The egg rises again. So this is a very nice new moon energy happening tomorrow. The Mercury will then just be behind the sun, whereas as we speak now, Mercury is just, well, completely blinded by the sun, completely combust to the sun. But it gives us those two energies from Apollo, the more advanced Mercury, to the Helios, the more animalistic Mercury. So, you know, Mercury, when he's on the other side, he's doing a do-si-do around the sun. But very nice. We have Venus in Libra and Mars in Scorpio. So we had a difficult time of Mars being in detriment in Libra. And we had Venus in fall for a long time in Virgo. So now it should be a feeling of peace. That's why they, you know, it should be a feeling of clarity. And then Mercury, let's watch Mercury. Mercury takes back a little bit of visibility as he moves away, and the sun is going to move into Scorpio. Sun moves into Scorpio on the 23rd of the 11th. And then Mercury and Venus will be together in Libra and Mars. So Mercury and Venus, very nice in Libra. We've got some justice coming up. We're going to have, you know, if you have been going through issues, intense issues, it can be all kinds of things to do with Scorpio. So money, inheritance, going over, and it's getting a bit windy, I think. Any deep, intense feelings between friends and family, or old lovers coming back, old friends coming back, you know, finding justice, going through court cases, all these kind of things. Because Libra is all about justice, Scorpio is vengeance. These are all things I've been covering in my recent posts. So, library, you can come at these. There are a lot of open to the public posts. So we've got energy right now. Vengeance is a dish best served cold. That's open to the public. Rio de Janeiro, Milky Way, River, Gap, and Willie becomes Ophiuchus. I'll add Bataclan was very important. I will go over that at the end of this video, but for those who don't have time to listen to that, go and look. It's open to the public. I'll add all that. So let's just come back to right now. That sun, yeah, so sun is in Libra, Venus is at home, and the new moon's month, this is going to be the energy for the whole month, so it's a lovely energy, and Mercury has come back for justice. But when do they come? Mars is in Ophiuchus. Okay, I need to put a jumper on 1 second. Right, so Mars is officially in Ophiuchus for this new moon. So Mars rules Scorpio, Mars is at home, but Mars also rules Aries. And Aries is where Chiron, the key, Chiron has just made it back to Pisces in the home of Jupiter. We've also got Saturn, who is officially in Aquarius. He's now direct. He's on his way back to Pisces, but he is in Aquarius. So Aquarius is this is the true new north. And we've got north nodes here in Aquarius and Saturn and Neptune, which is still conjunct to Saturn, but in Pisces, the home of Jupiter. So this is all so important for Jupiter. Jupiter is now retrograde, but he's retrograde in the home of Mercury. So Jupiter needs air. He needs air, and he can rise this unicorn, so that the unicorn he can play the role. He has no role in the earth element for the next 250 years. He has no place, nor for the next 250 years in water. And we're at the end of a great cycle, where we're at the end. This is it. This is your chance to make it back into Saturn's ruler of the twin peaks, Capricorn and Aquarius, opposite Leo and Cancer. There will be no need of the sun and the moon, for in the kingdom of God, the lamp shall be lit, the Lamb. So, Jupiter is bringing up his white horse. That's why we have the unicorn. We've got on the top of Notre Dame, we've got the corn. This is the corn. This is the GMO. This is the green man, the corn man. This is Jack on the beanstalk. This is marking his line, marking himself as Jack. So Jack, Jupiter, is right on the tip at the end of Gemini. And next June, when Mercury will retrograde in Gemini. So Mercury is currently retrograding in Scorpio, and he makes it back to air, to high cardinal air, to Libra, which gives to Jupiter double air energy, this new moon energy. The cardinal cross is the Grand Master. So Mercury makes it back, and Mercury rules Gemini, where Jupiter is, in detriment. People, what is Gemini? Gemini is not ever finishing anything. Gemini's they're always doing lots of things at the same time, but they never finish it. They're unable to just settle down. They are here to pollinate. They are here as messengers. They're not here to see something through to the ends. They have great ability to communicate, to be diplomatic, but also to slander and to gossip. So Jupiter is in the home of Mercury. As Mercury's just made it back, he's going to be with Venus. Jupiter was conjunct to Venus the last time that Mercury was retrograding in Cancer. And now Jupiter is retrograde. He's going to make it all the way back on top to the top of Sirius. Yeah, he's going very slowly. Says, you know, we're really feeling that in limbo energy and the water and the emotions as Jupiter is in Gemini. And then next year, so he's going back in December. He's going to be going retrograde in January. And then, so he's going to make it right all the way to Sirius. And then he will come back. And in June, so here we go, June, here's Mercury. And as he enters Cancer, Mercury will assure his place so that he can now be exalted in the fertility, in the home of the moon. And that will be Mercury, the end of this 5 retrogrades in Cancer. The other important thing to know is when that Jupiter goes back into Cancer, the great conjunction in 2020 was in Capricorn. It was in Capricorn. So this is now Jupiter marking his first opposition to where he and Saturn met in Capricorn. So this is Janus. This is really that halfway. This is the Midnight Express. This is that halfway from Capricorn, the government, the high matriarchal, the public realm, the top of the mountain, the regal fish goats. When Jupiter, he is more concerned in the sun and the moon and keeping the fertility, the emotions, you know, the demons, the moon eye, keeping the negative female energy of the crab, the moody, crabby. So as he enters Cancer, he is exalted, and we're marking that first halfway mark, and then Saturn is also fully then in Pisces, making a trine. So Jupiter will be exalted and making a trine to Saturn as Saturn is in his own home. So Saturn is going to spend a while going over the whale's telltale, and we're in this full period of where William will become the king. And Uranus is under the 7th sister. Uranus is doing his last retrograde back to Algol. So this is really marking every 84 years that Uranus makes this passage between Aleph Tav. Venus rules Taurus, Mars rules Aries, just like where we've got Mercury going retrograde, Venus rules Libra, and Mars rules Aries, and Mars and Libra are at home, giving to Mercury this, you know, high cardinal energy, really the ability to rise as the eagle, the phoenix again. So I'm just going to quickly show you this post. The new cross is officially formed. So it would seem with this new moon, so this happened on Monday. Today we are Wednesday. So Monday, your moon was on Spica. Yesterday, Tuesday, and Monday, the moon was on Spica. So the blue star, blue, and Libra is red. Blue and red, and then they've got their green over here. Blue and green, blue and yellow makes green, the Ukraine. So that Ukraine flag, it's basically preparation for this new moon. And then we're going to have the next new moon, which will be in Scorpio, and then Mercury. So let's come back to now, tomorrow, the new moon here, and then 1 month later, 1 month later. Now, this is very interesting. This is very interesting because that means that Scorpio is completely out of the picture. There's no new moon in Scorpio. This is today. The sun is in Libra. And next month, the new moon is in Sagittarius on the dart of D'Artagnan, and Venus will be on Ophiuchus. So Scorpio is out. There's, there's no Scorpio. There is just Venus and Jupiter, Jack and Rose taking over the place with Ophiuchus. And that's why it was such a big thing this summer when Mercury was retrograde in Cancer, and we had Jack and Rose, and I kept saying this is Jack and Rose. And V for Vendetta, the film V for Vendetta, you've got rising that Virgo, that Venus and Virgo energy, rising the girl. Oh my goodness. So Scorpio, we're going to totally miss out a new moon, although we will have the sun going through Scorpio, obviously, but we're going to miss there's no new moon. There's no new moon in Scorpio. So last year, let's have a look. There was a new moon in Scorpio. There was a new moon in Scorpio, the 1st of December, and that was when they brought out the film of Alchemy that I went to see. And I asked in the questions at the end in my local village, I said, how come you chose the new moon today? Wow. Interesting. Yeah, so it was almost Venus right in Sagittarius. It was almost like that was the killing of Scorpio. And then this year, there is no new moon in Scorpio. Well, I wonder how often that happens. You would have to go back and look. Okay, so let me show you this post. So they're signing for some kind of buying a whole new warplanes. That is the excuse of showing you that blue and red when that is really the moon on blue star SPica, and he's holding the sun, the red Libra. So this is what Lars always said. This is the merging of Libra and Virgo. So by the way, I have news from Lars, and Lars is all okay. He's just completely switched off social media. So we can make this a bit bigger. So there you've got Libra and Virgo, the false heaven on earth, and that is exactly what they're showing you. They're using the blue star and Libra as the red air. They're using that blue star. So look, he's even got the red and the blue here, and the new dielectric green line between this new torso field that they're making is right here between Scorpio and Sagittarius. Right there. That is exactly what this is. So blue and yellow makes green, right? So that's it. They've got the green and the blue and the red. Oh, wow. That's it. They're showing you the new axis, and that's exactly what I was writing. So right now we are seeing the young female Mary Magdalene being turned into the whore of Babylon and the male into a nobody genderless entity. Pedophilia are dawning to be legalized just for the purpose of power and fun. They will create the false androgynous mankind as and without barren genderless entity. When the mature old male or female holds a child in its hand, it works in two ways. The grand ones of the child are the ones to be allowed to do it and not a stranger. We are all being manipulated away from the real heaven on earth in Aquarius and Capricorn. The Libra Lucifer energy of false justice are about to be implemented for capturing mankind. So William and Kate have just been to the opening, and then I think I saw something that she didn't go to a pantomime of Paddington Bear. Paddington Bear is showing you always the red and the blue. Recently, he was stolen from his cock. So they're taking away the true red, blue, negative, positive, masculine, feminine, electric, magnetic, and now they're bringing him back with the green. That's why the Queen was dressed in green, walking away with the red and the blue. So yeah, so you either find it yourself within you. See here, we've got the fixed cross crucified and the merging of the cardinal signs with the mutable signs. That's why he's put mature and youth. So this is Macron, Jupiter with his old wife, Capricorn, when it should be Capricorn and Aquarius that merge. It should be Mars and Venus, Taurus, but Nicolas Bully went, Diana went, Taurus is over. Basically, anybody who's of these pure energies of Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius, and Taurus, so Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John is decapitated. Literally, he's being decapitated. There's no new moon in Scorpio. Are very attacked. I noticed this on social media. You know, Meghan Markle is openly bullied. She's Scorpio energy. All over internet, anybody who's strong Aquarius energy. I'm very strong Aquarius energy. We are, you know, we're out. Anybody who is a true mother energy, out. And any highly creative individual people, out as well. That's only acceptable if it's the LGBTQ pride energy, but the true, you know, the fixed cross is out. You got to be these energies. And that's why I was hearing on the radio, you know, they're really rising the government with the children, which I've always said. Up now, where have I just stopped filming by accident? Oh no, I haven't. It's good. Okay, so let's go through these pictures. So this is, I put the red and the blue. This is red star, blue star. We've got Venus at home in red. We've got Mars at home in water, but they used the moon. The moon rules Cancer. Jupiter's about to go back to Cancer. We had Mercury retrograde in Cancer. And at the end of the Olympics, we had Mercury retrograde in Leo. So they can rise this red blue star using the blue star of Spica. They want to bring up Venus and Spica energy. If you go through my old videos post we had recently, there was something big that happened when Venus was on Spica. Venus was on Spica the first, well, for the last full moon, the 5th, Venus was on Spica. But there were other things, you have to go back. So, north-south, look at this, underneath the yellow and blue, the new green, the new east and west. You know, this is the Put is in. Putin, Ukraine, and they're going to kill Moscow because Moscow is the Mose cow, is the true 13th chakra. So red, blue, how many can find the true crown? Purple, neutral, neutral. How many people can rise this eagle? It's not red pill or blue pill. It's being able to be the neutral. They're rising their green man. And they've got the aeroplane. They're signing for aeroplanes because Saturn is back in Aquarius. And they're using fighter planes. They're using vengeance. They're using Mars in, I mean, who would sign such a major deal as Mercury is retrograde and Jupiter is retrograde? You know, they choose the worst possible times on purpose because this is all illusion. Chiron is back. So in Pisces, Neptune is in Pisces. To acquire up to 100 Rafale fighter jets and other hardware, a boost for Ukraine as it fights the Russian invasion. So there we go. Red and blue. So this was in 2016. They met Paddington Bear. She's pink. Red and blue. They're making this pink, and now we're at the next reset, 2025, from 2016. They always show you red and blue, and there is the dielectric, the green, and this is the jewel in the middle. This is the jewel. If you can find your head to, there's you've got the yellow. Oh yeah, that's in my cafe. That is in my cafe. I took that picture because I always have a nice wink with the owner of my cafe in my village. He brought in Paddington Bear under the UrCRANE, and yeah, I tell you how important my village is, and I know that people know, but you know, I can tell you guys. So 78982 PB is lead to gold. Got the green in the middle and the blue shift, red shift. Red, blue, green, and the dog is taking this serious. They're showing you serious. Jupiter is going to retrograde back to Sirius. So that's showing you the Queen Bee. The Queen Bee, he was born, William was born in Paddington Hospital, in Paddington, and he was born in the year of the dog. So they were meant to attend, and then I think for some reason Kate didn't go. Kate is Catherine the Great. She didn't go. The female didn't go. There's no new moon in Scorpio. So look, you've got the French and the UrCRANE. The red, white and blue takes the reds, and UrCRANE takes the green. The green man, Jack on the beanstalk, the green line. Pan. So that is the story of the red, blue Kashina. So look, this is Aquarius in the middle. Aquarius is the true air. Jupiter is in Gemini. Gemini is the hair. He's the hair. It's the hair. He's not the true air. He's the hair. The Beetlejuice. It's the labyrinth in my village. Got the blue star, the red star. So we might be having a blackout. It's that I was what I spoke about, the red and the blue. I like that. Me with people, me alone. Union Jack. It's what's coming now, making that cross. The 4 crucifixions and the upcoming fake one. Libra, and Virgo, which is what we saw there. Okay. Okay, so what oops, that is, oops, hang on a second, element of water. Right, so Patreon 2.5 rundown of the next 2 weeks. So this is the chart for the new moon, and that's why I was getting so confused, because when I look at these charts, I can see the new moon in Scorpio, and it is not a new moon in Scorpio. It is a new moon in Libra. It's a new moon in Libra, and this is going to be the energy of the next month. Very nice. Venus at home and Mars and Mercury making that connection between both, making the connection, and then next month it's going to be right on the dart of D'Artagnan that kills Scorpio Europe. So this is all happening opposite Uranus, and for the next 2 weeks everything is opposite Uranus. This is the true holy grail. Scorpio and Taurus. Scorpio should become the MC, and Taurus is the new IC. So we've got Libra. This is really the Phoenix. If you can get out of that narcissistic energy of just looking at your own reflection, Libra, and face the dark side, and face everything that is hidden, and face reaching down into the murky waters to bring up, you know, all those energies, and to let go, to also be Scorpio is all about elimination. It's about regeneration. It's about recycling, death and rebirth. It's about letting go. And Uranus is in full in Taurus, exalted in Scorpio, and Uranus is coming to, you know, get rid of that possession, to get rid of everything that you're holding on to. And this is the preparation energy for Cancer, when, you know, you will own nothing and be happy, which is where we're going. So at the same time, we've got this lovely grand trine, which is working for this new moon in Libra. Don't get distracted. That sun and that moon are in Libra, and Mercury too. So Mars is here in Scorpio, but the sun and the moon and Mercury are all in Libra, and they are making this trine to Jupiter in Gemini. So that's air. Saturn is in Aquarius, and Neptune is also in it, but Neptune is just in Pisces. Not sure if Neptune's going to make it back to Aquarius. Why don't we check? Neptune is in Pisces. No, Neptune is not going to make it back to Aquarius. But this grand trine is therefore in air. It's logical, it's detached, it's free. It's really that LIbra AIR, liberty energy of equality, fraternity, and liberty. It's in air. So Neptune is in water, Mars is in water, and Jupiter is coming back in Gemini before coming into Cancer in June. So we have been eliminating sorrow, crying. Many people will have been able to make a great breakthrough with this intensity. You have to break your heart. You either break your heart and become crueler, or you break your heart and you make it through the mirror, you make it through the black mirror, and you're able to find that freedom and to rise again as the phoenix, or you remain incredibly cruel. It's that film Frozen. The film Frozen is all about finding your powers. You can only really find your powers when you have broken your heart, broken your hearts. So that is the new moon. Then we're going to have the first quarter moon in Aquarius, making a square to Libra. Mercury will still be in Libra for that new moon on the 28th of November. So we're going to have the moon exalted. Hang on, I've got it in January. 28th of November. The moon is right on the true lamb, right on Fomalhaut. So moon in Aquarius making a square to the sun that will then be in Scorpio. So Mercury will have gone all the way back to the snake of wisdom. He's found full visibility. He is still retrograde. No, he's literally stationary on that 28th. He's literally stationary. So a wonderful big, feeling of clarity. Mars and Venus still at home and the moon right on the claw. You've either risen that phoenix or you're still getting eaten away by vengeance energies. So 28th, that is all correct. Mercury and Venus, Sun and Mars in Scorpio, and we've got triple opposition Uranus to Mercury, to Venus and to the Sun. We have got this lovely cornerstone that has been here for a long time, all in earth and water. I keep showing you that is the true Kabbalah cornerstone. Pluto, Uranus, Neptune and Saturn. That is Le Louvre. And again, this grand trine, which is still all in air. Saturn is in air. So for my Patreon rundown, we were going, oh, it's all in water. It's all in air, gang. It's all in air. So air is really being able to come above these deep energies of Mercury, having gone through the waters, through the sorrow, through the tears. We can see ahead now. You've got the clarity of vision. Mercury rules Gemini. Mercury is now in air and Saturn is back home. So it says here, Venus is in Scorpio, but Venus is not in Scorpio. Mars is in domicile, Venus is in domicile, Jupiter is in detriment, Uranus is in fall, and Neptune is in domicile. And then we've got the new cold moon on the 5th of December, and then we do have the moon exalted in Taurus, and we do have the Sun and Venus in Scorpio. So we've got a grand square, double T square, opposition obviously for the full moon, and a square to the south node in Leo, to the north node in Aquarius. 5th of December. Sun in Scorpio, Mars right on the knee of Ophiuchus, the Sun in Ophiuchus. So this is very much rising that green man time for that full moon, the cold. So yeah, square to north nodes. Let's have a look here. 5th of December. Venus is now in Scorpio, and Venus rules Taurus, and so Venus is in detriment in Scorpio. So we had that period of time, and now Venus can bring up again this dark energy. If you didn't find your clarity as Venus was in Libra, you will be feeling, because Mercury is now moving forward, but he's coming over his shadow, and Venus is the ruler of Taurus, where the moon is exalted, and the moon is going to be right on the tip. Well, it's going to start on the 5th. What time is that? It's at 0:14 a.m. So at midnight, that moon is right on the bullseye. This is right on Nicola Bullseye, and opposite Venus, and opposite the sun, and Venus rules here, and Venus is all that energy. So, you know, this is the Holy Grail. This is the voluptuous Taurus. If you have the right energy balance, you've got the balance that you found in Libra, then you will have that justice and the ability of incorporating and eliminating. Even Jupiter is now back on Lord of the Rings, and we've got the Sun on Ophiuchus and Mars on the bee's knee in Ophiuchus. So we might have this big square, but we've also now we've still got a lovely grand trine of Mercury and Saturn and Jupiter in air, and this grand square in the 4 elements: earth, fire, air and water. And the capstone is still working. The key, you see, is back in Pisces, and Mars, the ruler, is at home, rising Ophiuchus, and they are conjunct to Juno as well, making a trine to that key in the home of Jupiter. So here is Guy Fawkes himself. G7, F6, 76 is 13B, 13M, Bob Marley, the B13, Ophiuchus, the 13th cranial nerve, Jack D'Artagnan is Guy is the G passage, the Lovers 51, V1, Kiss. So that was why you got to go back and see all the Bataclan. The Bataclan was the Eagles of Death, and they were playing Kiss, and that happened in 2015, 5 years before the Great Conjunction, and then everyone got sick. Kiss is sick backwards. Under the mistletoe, Gi is the mistletoe, it's the Mazel Tov. To become one, Guy Fawkes is about separation, division and revenge. The opposite of Gi is the heart, the B, the LIbra. The B is the Babylon, the whore of Babylon. The B, the heart to head. You have to have seen the two sides. When she's good, she's very, very good. And when she's bad, she's horrid. This is Venus on the blue star. And now we had for this merging of Ukraine and France to rise this Guy Fawkes, this D'Artagnan, this Zorro. You know, look at the fingers. He's got Mars and Jupiter, and Mars and Jupiter. Mars and Jupiter have no more place. We've now got Venus, Mercury and Saturn that rule. Can you pick up the true energies? Because for the next, and you know, I looked at the Battle of Hastings was the last time that we had the Saturn and Jupiter conjunction. So that was exactly this jump from Sagittarius and then in Virgo in 1067. So we're going back to the Middle Ages. We've got 250 in the Middle Ages was when the feudal systems were created. This is whole new systems can be created under the Green Man Jack. that B to head, heart to head, Ki, Gi, Forks is the falcon. Gi is the word for mistletoe in French, which is le gui. Mistletoe is about the new year. It's always about the war for the winter summer solstice. That's your red, blue. North, south, the tropics, Sagittarius, D'Artagnan kills Europe, Scorpio, when Scorpio should rise again to take the 10th house, government, public realm. The Eagle, Aigle, the true MC, opposite Taurus, 4th house, home, private realm. That should be the IC. So Guy pronounced Guy, which rhymes with key. So JourG in French is JG. JourG, we've currently got Jupiter in Gemini. We're at JourG. Jupiter is in Gemini. And I would think for Prince William's birthday, when Mercury will come home and be in Gemini again as Jupiter enters Cancer is the big date. In English, for those of us who don't understand the phonetic alphabet, the name FAWKES traces its origins back to the French language, where it derived from the word faucon, meaning falcon. This name evolved over time to become FAWKES, eventually adopting the additional meaning of valley. So the valley of death, the gorge, the JourG. JourG is the true fixed cross. This is, what does Prince George do? He kills the snake. He kills the dragon. He kills the Milky Way gap, which is, you know, there's going to be no new moon in Scorpio. I'm not sure how often that's happened. You'll have to go back and look. The name FAWKES has a rich history that spans various periods and cultures. Abigail's Party, 1977, the year Nicolas Boulay was born. It's also when Chiron was discovered. Abigail is the Appy. You can read that. I'm not going to go over that. I've been over that in so many posts and videos on Abigail's Party. Shows us the triple goddesses. So Taurus, her, then you've got in that Abigail Party, you've got the nurse Virgo, and you've got the old hag Sue, showing us that we're entering 1977 was just before 81, when we had the first triple conjunction to mark the new 250 years of Saturn and Jupiter in Virgo. Okay, I'm just checking. Okay, I'm going to end my video now. So darlings, as always, I'm going to add lots of links. I'm going to add again my links to the Christmas offers for readings. And I'm also going to be adding all the public posts of Patreon so you can catch up. If you want to go more deeply into the next 2 weeks, you know, for €5, you get every 2-week rundown and you get in depth the big E every month. So darlings, I leave it there. I love you very much and I look forward to seeing you on Patreon. Bye for now.